They told me the countryside was safe, but no one warned me that not all shadows stay where they belong. When Dana moved to a rural town to escape the stress of city life, she never imagined her peaceful new existence would take such a dark turn. The village of Elmstead was quaint, with its cobblestone streets and friendly locals. Her new home, a small cottage at the edge of a sprawling forest, seemed like the perfect place to reset her life. The first few weeks were idyllic. Each evening, Dana would take her golden retriever, Max, for a walk along the winding trails that meandered through the woods. The forest was quiet, the air crisp, and the only sounds were the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves in the breeze. She felt free for the first time in years. One Thursday evening, after a long day of work, Dana decided to take a later-than-usual walk. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in deep shades of orange and purple. As she grabbed Max's leash, she noticed how still the evening felt. Too still. Shaking off her unease, she stepped out onto the trail. The path was cloaked in shadows, but Dana found comfort in the rhythmic crunch of her boots on the gravel and Max's cheerful panting. She passed by the familiar landmarks, the old wooden bench, the gnarled oak tree, and the small clearing where wildflowers bloomed in the spring. Yet, as she walked, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. A sudden rustling sound came from behind her. She froze, her heart pounding. Max's ears perked up, and he let out a low growl. Turning slowly, Dana scanned the path. Nothing, just the trees swaying gently in the wind. "Come on, Max," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Let's keep moving." They continued, but the feeling of unease grew stronger. A few minutes later, Dana heard it again, the distinct sound of footsteps, light and deliberate. They seemed to echo her own, stopping when she stopped, quickening when she quickened. She spun around, her breath hitching in her throat. The path behind her was empty, but the shadows between the trees seemed darker, more menacing. "Hello?" she called out, her voice firm. No response. Max growled again, his hackles raised. Dana's grip tightened on his leash as she picked up her pace. When they reached a small wooden bridge that spanned a trickling creek, Dana's phone buzzed in her pocket. She fumbled to answer it, grateful for the distraction. It was Claire, her best friend from the city. "Hey, Claire," Dana said, trying to keep her voice steady. "You okay?" "You sound a little off," Claire replied. "I'm fine, just out walking Max. The woods are a bit creepy tonight." "Creepy? Come on, you moved there to get away from creepy," Claire joked. Dana managed a weak laugh. "Yeah, I know. I'll call you when I get back home." As she hung up, Dana noticed Max staring intently at the end of the bridge. Following his gaze, she saw a figure standing just beyond the tree line. It was a man, tall and hunched, his face obscured by a hood. He wasn't moving. He was just standing there, watching her. "Who's there?" Dana shouted, her voice shaking. The man didn't respond. Instead, he took a step closer. Panic surged through Dana. She turned and bolted back the way she came, Max keeping pace beside her. The sound of footsteps behind her grew louder, faster. He was following her. Dana's lungs burned as she ran, her mind racing. The shadows of the forest seemed to close in around her, the once familiar trail now a twisting maze. She risked a glance over her shoulder and saw the man, now much closer, his hood flapping in the wind as he sprinted after her. Finally, she spotted the faint glow of her cottage's porch light through the trees. Summoning every ounce of strength, Dana sprinted the final stretch, nearly tripping on the uneven ground. She stumbled up the steps, fumbled with her keys, and shoved the door open just as the man reached the edge of her yard. Slamming the door shut, Dana locked it and collapsed against it, gasping for breath. Max barked furiously, scratching at the door. Peering through the peephole, Dana saw the man standing at the foot of her steps, his hood now pulled back to reveal a gaunt, pale face. His eyes were hollow, filled with something dark and unsettling. He smiled, a slow, chilling grin that sent a shiver down her spine. He raised a hand and pointed at her door, then turned and disappeared into the shadows. Dana didn't sleep that night. Every creak and groan of the old cottage set her nerves on edge. She called the local sheriff's office, but by the time a deputy arrived, the man was long gone. "Probably just a drifter," the deputy said, though his tone lacked conviction. "I'll have someone patrol the area tonight." But Dana knew it wasn't just a drifter. There was something about the way he had looked at her, something that felt deeply wrong. She spent the next few days jumpy and on edge, keeping Max close and avoiding the woods entirely. One evening, as she was locking up for the night, Dana heard a soft tapping on the window. Her heart leapt into her throat. Slowly she turned to see a piece of paper pressed against the glass, held by a pale hand. The paper had a single word scrawled on it: "Run." When she flung open the curtain, there was no one there, just the dark forest, silent and waiting. If you think you know who was haunting Dana's path, leave your theory in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that'll keep you up at night. Until next time, stay safe and stay in the light.